Hey guys, welcome back to Coach's Corner. This week we're talking mobility, and I'm going to actually take you through 3 exercises that are going to be great for your thoracic mobility as well as through your hip and lower back mobility. So stay tuned for those, but first I want to break down why mobility is important for endurance athletes. So when we're dealing with the sport of triathlon or even just long distance running or long distance cycling independently, we have a highly repetitive motion. So we've talked before about how when you're in these training workouts and in these races that you're spending thousands of strides running, thousands of stroke in the water, and thousands of pedal strokes on the bike. And this is all in the same movement pattern. So it's this linear motion. It's oftentimes in the sagittal plane. You do get a little transverse plane in the pool, but predominantly we're moving in that sagittal plane. And the body is not designed to work in just one plane of motion and one movement pattern for an extended period of time. It's designed to move through all planes of motion, designed to move in a lot of different movement patterns. So oftentimes this redundant, repetitive exercise can result in a lot of additional tightness in certain joints. It can result in overcompensations when certain joints get too tight. And this can often lead to issues with our posture, issues with injuries, sprains, strains, chronic low back pain, things like that, especially in the case of when we get those tight hip flexors that create that anterior pelvic tilt. That can put a lot of strain on our lower back, especially when we're landing through every stance phase on the run and being in that anterior pelvic tilt and where the force is distributed. So we definitely want to make sure that we're improving our range of motion, which can help alleviate some of these overcompensations, alleviate some of these overuse injuries, and ultimately help us maintain good posture and efficiency when we're running, biking, and swimming. Now, mobility exercises can be used as either a dynamic warm-up before you run, bike, or swim, but they can also be used on an active recovery day. So maybe a day where you're off from any of those 3 disciplines and you're spending some time, using the foam roller, maybe getting a massage, working on some flexibility exercises. This would be a good day to include your mobility work as well. So maybe about 20 to 30 minutes of just mobility exercises, working slowly through the range of motion. And as the body warms itself, you may be able to get deeper into each stretch and in each dynamic movement pattern. So be patient with it, let your body warm up, and you'll start to notice that range of motion around the joints will improve. You'll have less risk of injuries because those overcompensations will start to fade away because all of the muscles around the joint will be able to optimally perform. So I'm going to go through 3 exercises right now, again, targeting your thoracic mobility, so up through your upper spine, as well as some low back and hip mobility exercises. So take a look at those. Let me know if you have any questions on them. I'll give you some recommendations for how much volume to do of these mobility exercises, how many repetitions, how many sets, things like that as I go through each one. But I hope you enjoy the exercises and you give them a try on your next workout as either a warm-up or a post-workout mobility exercise. Have a good rest of your day, and thank you guys for watching.
For alligator walks, you're going to step forward with your front foot flat just outside the same side hand. With the opposite side of your body, you will extend both your arm and your leg, dipping your hip down on that same extended side. Typically, I recommend alligator walks for 10 to 15 meters, repeated 2 or 3 times. Similar to alligator walks, you'll step forward keeping your foot flat just outside the same side hand. Once planted, you'll dip your same side elbow towards the floor, then rotate away, extending up to the sky. Typically, I recommend doing 10 to 15 repetitions on each side, each time working a little closer to the floor with the elbow. For 90-90s, you want to keep a 90-degree angle at both knees, keeping one shin and one thigh parallel at all times. As you rotate from side to side, you're going to slightly hinge forward towards your shin, keeping a long spine and shoulders back. I recommend completing 10 to 15 repetitions slowly on each side.